What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Austin. Linzi, MumBossTrader's here with me today. We've got a great trade recap. We appreciate you being here. Linzi, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How's yourself?
I'm good. I'm happy. It's been a good week. I'm glad that you and I are able to get on here and get this value out to everybody. I actually just shot a really funny video with Riley doing this reaction to this guy's music video. And I was like, Riley, this feels so weird because we never do funny videos on the YouTube channel. It's always trade recaps, education, and you know what I mean? So it was interesting, but I was excited because then I knew, okay, let me just get through this weird recap video and then I can actually get over to my trade and talk to Linzi and I'll be happier there. But tell everybody today, I know we both traded EurJpy. We both did really well on it. And as everybody can see here, the thing fell about 80 pips from our entry. But I'm going to rewind a couple things here today. Do you want to kind of paint the picture for everybody as I delete some drawings and send us back to this morning?
So this morning when I looked at it, I could see coming off the daily, I started with the daily actually, and I could see it was holding out on the 8 EMA. And I liked that, but I liked that the push from the 800 on the daily, and I had been watching that from the beginning of the week, from like, was it Monday? Or it was actually into last week. I knew that there was like the D2 and it was coming off. When I went to daily, that was coming off the 800. So I had that kind of on my watch list to watch for. Then when I was going down the time frames, I knew that the 4 hour was off the 21 and the 8, and then down on the 1 hour, I liked it that it was rejecting the 21, and that's basically kind of what made me go to it on the 15-minute. But obviously I knew that zone, that strong support zone was there.
Right.
So
I wanted to ask you about that because we had very similar support zones drawn this morning. And I actually did. Normally, you know, I don't like starting on the daily. I'll start at like the 15-minute and I'll actually work my way up. But today I did similar. I went to the 4 hour and the 1 hour and I saw the same thing. But what I also liked about the 4 hour and the 1 hour was the TDI. The 1 hour on the TDI was down here in the sell zone back from earlier this week. So I felt pretty good about that we could still see more movement to the downside. And I really like going back to Tuesday into Wednesday with the GCAD trades that we were looking at. Remember that L50 on GCAD was in the buy zone perfect for 2 days. So here I was looking at this TDI from yesterday and just seeing it hold this sell zone really nice. So when I looked at it, I was like, same boat as you, short biased, everything looks good, except I didn't love the 800 EMA. What did you see when you saw this blue 800 EMA come across the screen? How did you?
Well, see, I didn't like it, and I've known that I've took trades like that in the past, and the price action has just chopped around. So that was another reason why I graded it what I did, was because I didn't like that 100. I didn't like the EMAs not being in full trend.
That makes sense to me. And something that I like to do in situations like this is kind of use it as structure. So I saw it bounce here really hard, came to it again, bounced, but not as hard. So now I was looking and seeing that we were kind of moving lower. And as we came back through it and actually pushed down, that to me made me see the potential to then come back and retest it and use it now as resistance to come lower. Support that was support has now become resistance. Did you see that as well?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So now I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to go back to one other thing you said. It's important. The zone you said, I wanted to draw this in. This comes in from Monday into Tuesday. Is this the same zone that you had drawn? I'm going to draw it right now with this divergence because I saw price action falling to the 800.
Yeah, I did see that. And see, when I see it, well, I saw mine on, you saw that on the 15-minute?
Yes, I saw it on the 15-minute. Well, see,
yes. Then I went to the 1 hour after I saw that zone, and I could draw that zone further back into around the 3rd of June.
So you saw it going back even further?
Yes. So when
further.
It was making its initial move up, then it pulled back to create that zone, but it never broke on the 3rd. And then it continued.
Look at that right there.
Yeah, and then it continued right up. So I knew
that's a really good observation.
Yeah. And I always know if I go further to my left, I'm going to see another zone like that. And
it's interesting, even here, you get that same idea where it's broken, tried to be broken, can't, finally gets through, retest as support. It's just the opposite. Here, resistance then becomes support, just as support today became resistance. You know what I mean? So it's interesting using that zone. Now, it's cool when we can see that overlap from the 3rd back into now the 9th, but I didn't go back as far as you. So I was only using this zone down here, and that really gave me my take profit idea coming off the 50 EMA here this morning. So I saw my TDI in the sell zone. I saw my EMAs coming into the downtrend. Higher time frames are short biased, and now I have somewhat of a target down here. So what did you grade this trade, A, B, or C?
I graded it a B setup, but I actually risked it on a C setup. So it was the risk of a C setup, although I sized down, although it was a B setup.
Why did you size down?
I sized down because I didn't like the EMAs. I didn't like that it was still in the Asia range, but I liked the overall downtrend. So that's why I didn't give it a C setup. But I risked it downsized because of the Asia range and because of the EMAs.
That makes sense. So I'm going to draw the Asian range just so everybody watching can see what you're talking about. So for everybody that's new and maybe you don't trade with us, we draw a box around the first 8 hours of the day. Here's the changeover of day, and then here's 1 a.m. That's the Asian session. And here, not only are you still trading inside it, which like Linzi said is a reason to be a little cautious, but also if you measure this range, I don't know if you did or not, Linzi, but this range, it's pretty big. It's pretty big. For this pair, I would let it go to like 70, 80. It's right there at that 71, 72 pips mark. Yeah. So now in this situation, and I think we've talked about this a lot before, you are in the Asian range. You can read that the EMAs can be better, but there's also still risk reward when you got the D1 entry. And if you waited, that risk reward got even better. And I'm going to show you that on the 1 minute. But did you kind of say to yourself, because I want you to drive this home to everybody, even though I'm in the Asian range, even though the EMAs could be better, did you say, look, there's still risk reward here and I still want to get a piece of this down to at least the low of day area?
That's why I basically because I measured it to the Asia low, and I knew that I could go over my 1 to 2 on it. So that's why I took it. If I couldn't have got that, I wouldn't have entered it. But I knew that I could take down to 3 row and get, about 3R.
So now, I'm same boat. Literally, you and I, was funny because we weren't even talking. I guess we should have said that at the beginning of this video. You and I weren't even active in the group chat together, but we were both looking at the same trade because this was one of those ones today where there was nothing else. There was no other clean, perfect liquid 50, perfect EMA, almost perfect EMA action. So now when we take it to the 1 minute, this is the way that I saw it. I think it was very, very solid. And you and I have talked about this a lot, where you have your divergence set, you know where your top is. You know if it breaks the top of that structure, this is beat, this is done. But it actually ends up making what we love to see, which is a lower high off the original divergence high. Did you get in right here on that break after that lower high, or did you wait?
No, I waited.
Okay, yeah, me too. So let me hit play here and we'll play it forward. So I just let it sit because I knew that there was still potential for it to come lower if it was going to set up and actually come through the 50 EMA for me. And I also wanted to see that L50 in the sell zone. I wanted that to come lower than where it was up here.
Yep.
So let me keep moving here. And right there, whoops. Right there. Yep. So it comes back up 1 candle through. It cannot hold, which is now another lower high, right? And as soon as it came through the 50 there, that was where I took my entry right here. About the same thing for you? It's so funny. Same exact timing. We were both looking at it the same way. And
I did see the first lower high, and I was like, and I thought, no, Lindsay, you always wait usually till the liquid 50's in the sell zone. And at the first lower high, it wasn't. So I thought, I knew, like you, I could still get good risk reward if I just waited.
Yep, exactly.
And that would be a more safer entry for me, I felt.
So how do you then decipher if you, like, what kept you from clicking sell here or clicking sell here? Were you looking for this TDI cross? Were you looking for something, like, was there anything specific you were looking for?
See, I wanted to, like what you said, the liquid 50 to come into the sell zone is usually my trigger. Sometimes,
so once, good.
Sometimes though, I do, if I see that the liquid 50 and the RSI and trend line are falling on like that, the first lower high, but I felt there that the very first lower high was very choppy today.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I just felt that was quite choppy there.
No, I agree.
So I was very hesitant there, and I just had patience for myself today. And I thought, Lindsay, it would be a safer entry for you if you just wait till the liquid 50 comes into the sell zone and holds it.
Just show that patience. And then even in here, in that choppiness, if you blow up the TDI, I didn't see this before, but now I'm seeing it now. There's actually, look, a little bit more bearish divergence right in there. Yep. Just giving you a little bit more, hey, pay attention, this could come back down. And then when it does push, like I said, this is where I think a lot of people will jump. They'll get in here and they'll be aggressive. And that's, in this case, it worked out for you. But I think if you can show the restraint like you did to say, show me one more time that you're going to hold this structure. Once you get the entry here, I want to know, did you trust this as your stop, or did you think it could come back up and test that? Did you go with the high before that?
No, I went with the new that one there. Yep.
Right here.
Yeah.
So you had a better risk reward setup than me, because I gave it that, but I also gave it a little bit more space. I had about a 13 pip stop in. What was yours?
No, mine was about 10.
Nice. So pretty close.
Including my spreads. Yeah.
Pretty close. And what I think we have to mention, because we've been spending a lot of time studying, notice on the 15-minute, before the entry, the RSI was already under the trend line. Did you see that too?
Yeah.
That was like, I think, one of the pieces of this setup that I was like, I know I'm already up on the week, but I don't know if I want to miss this, because that's a good sign, you know?
And I like also on the 15 that the 15-minute candle before our entry had actually closed back under 21.
Oh yeah, that was very solid. That made me feel really good, because really, you know just as well as I do, this little doji in here off the 21 right there, that sometimes leads to a big bullish candle, right? So once we didn't see that, then I was like, okay, maybe this isn't moving up. You know what I mean? Maybe there is something kicking this in. And then you really have to fall back. And this is what you and I have done really well. We pat ourselves on the back, is we back up for a second and we say, okay, wait a minute. I see the signal. I've got the D1. This is part of my edge. Where am I going to see this at the end of the day? And I'm going to say, well, there was the money. Where was the money? Well, look at the L50, look at the EMAs. More likely than not, this is coming short. This is coming lower. So at that point, with the signal, with the bias, and with as many things as possible in your favor, you grade the trade and you put the risk on. Once you put the risk on, did yours, I mean, I'm assuming it moved quickly like mine did. It was pain-free. Very quickly, 45 minutes, an hour, very quick, as you can see, drops right into profit. How did you close the trade? Because basically what I did was, as soon as we got down towards low of day right here in that resistance zone back here on Tuesday, as soon as we got to there, I was up 2R, I was done. Basically done right there.
Well, I did it different to you, because I obviously closed my partials as I do in my exit rules, and the most I got in was 3R, and then I moved my stop to 1R. And then I really just had like 10% left in at this point, and I just was waiting for either to be stopped out, or I thought it would maybe hold to 21, but I get taken out.
Right, so here it tries to push down there through the box from, if you had a 10 pip stop,
that's where I got my 3R, was on that push down.
Got it. That's what I was going to say. Yep.
And then it just, on the next candle, came straight back up and took me out.
Literally 2 15-minute bars later comes right back up to the entry. But I would have done the same thing. So the reason for everybody listening that I took the trade, most of the trade down here in the zone, was not just because it was at low of day. It was because it was at low of day and we had already bounced off it twice. And like Linzi and I said already, it was already an area that we bounced off of again here, back from even further on the 3rd. If I scroll all the way back, you'll see we were bouncing off this level on the 3rd. So seeing it come back to this same level, I was not going to be in the boat of like, oh, I'm in the breakout, I'm in the move that's going to break it, I know everything. I was like, no, it's bounced off this 5 times in the last 2 weeks, I'm going to take the trade here. Instead of doing what you, and I don't think you were wrong, I'm not at all, because I think for the most part, when we manage our trades, as it goes 2R, 3R, I move the stop as well. And either way, we both ended up profitable almost with the same exact percent gain today, which is very interesting too, right? As the day went on, I wanted to ask you something else, because I know you stayed around and you were kind of watching this. After you get tagged out on the rest of it, you're profitable on the day. What do? Do you hang around here and try to find another entry in case it wants to come down, or do you close the block off? How did you handle it? Because like there was a couple situations here. I'm going to fast forward. Like it induced you almost right here to come in again, get in again.
It did, and I saw that. But what happened was, for me, I was hanging around anyway because I had coaching calls this afternoon, and I still wanted to. There was a couple of Perfect Liquid 50s that I was watching, other pairs that I was watching, and I just wanted to mark them up to see how they played out. But I wasn't going to pull the trigger on them because I really am just one and done. And if I need to walk away and shut my laptop, I can do that. I don't feel tied to the charts.
So it's like a mentality thing too. It's like it makes you rest and like, okay, I can take a break, I can breathe. Now I'm gonna come back tomorrow and do it again, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good answer. And that leads me to my next question. As we fast forward here, what we were talking about before we got on the call, let's say you left your entry in from where we were originally short here, and you left the original stop. You could potentially still be in the trade here later in the day. This thing ends up coming lower into the afternoon, and it moves about 80 pips, like we showed already, from the original entry. You can see it really picks up steam and really pushes down now here into the afternoon. But for me, and this is the point that I really do enjoy driving home, this move here, that would, to me, this whole move is the rack of ribs or the leg of lamb, right? I can't eat all of those ribs by myself, but I can take this nice little chunk out of it every time I see it, is the way that I look at it. Like, to me, this isn't missed money. But how did you feel as you saw this push lower? Do you sit the same way? How did you feel?
I didn't think, I just say they're not my pips, because I took my part, I followed my rules and I followed my plan, and I followed my exit rules, and I did it the way I should. So to me, I never got another entry in. I wouldn't have took the other entry in, but I had because I got my bit.
That was exactly what I wanted you to say, because to me, if this had presented another entry, sure, take it. We know it's short biased. We already sure, but there's no A1, there's no D1, there's no nothing. And let's just say, to the other side of it, let's just say this was like a normal B or C setup, and maybe it bounced off this level again. Then you'd be very happy that you had your stop loss where you did in profit, like you should, right? So we know more times than not, getting the chunk of this move, we're very grateful for it. It's pain-free, it's quick, and then we can move on with the day, rather than sit through all of this chop just to potentially get more. You know, I think it's a part of FOMO almost to try to say, I gotta get it, I'm gonna be in the day that it drops. Yeah. You could take a chunk out of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. No idea.
When you come now, and I think this is good information on this trade, when you come to the market tomorrow on Friday, will you keep the same bias here and look to still see if there's short entries? Will you still follow that because you made money short today?
No, I'll probably just I'll come to the markets like I do every day and just look for analyze and look for my perfect liquid 50s, my perfect EMAs, and see. I'll not just come and check this pair out straight away. I'll come and do my analysis.
And I think in time, it'll be interesting for us to look back on this video and see if you change as time goes on, where you kind of change that a little bit and then maybe lean into some of these biases that you've called out so well. One other question for this trade, unless there's anything else you want to leave us with, but I have one more question for you. How did you choose this euro pair over all the euro pairs? What out of this was the biggest takeaway for you going forward that, hey, when I see this, I'm not going to miss these setups? What was the biggest lesson out of this?
Mine for me was it's the perfect liquid 50, and I'm always drawn to the perfect liquid 50 because I just think it never lies.
Yep, it really never does. Even if you have to deal with some chop like this, when you see perfect from the changeover of day right there, when you see the perfect liquid 50, more often than not, it's going to end the day in that direction, either lower or higher. More often than not. So yeah, I think that's a big takeaway. And honestly, for me, because I have this problem where sometimes, like, if I'm up on the week, I'm very timid. So my big thing today was, look, this is structure. It's perfect L50. The EMAs might be a little better and the Asian range could be better. But other than that, there's some money here. So even if it's small, like I did today, like you did today, reading that risk reward and still
there's nothing else really out there today that I liked.
Exactly.
So when I saw the perfect liquid 50, I thought, I'm just going to hang with this and see if it presents any opportunities that match my plan.
That makes a lot of sense. No. Is there anything that you want to share about this trade with everybody? Anything else? I think we covered it pretty well.
I think we've covered it well. I just think people need to go with the mindset of not thinking FOMO, because obviously with this, you can see where we went in and it pulled back and could have took you out, and then they see the drop. And they've just got to, get their head around it. They're not your pips. And there's plenty of other opportunities that you're going to get.
Exactly. And no matter what, as long as I've been trading, I've never been able to catch all of every single trade. Even if you catch all of one of them, you still probably won't catch all of it. And it won't be the same repeatable thing that you can do every day versus what we're doing. Boom, goes up 2R, 3R, take the profit, lock the stop. Cool. Next, where's the next setup? That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
It was a good trade. I was happy with it overall.
And then tomorrow, the good thing about this is the week has been really good. So coming into tomorrow now, if there's nothing perfect, I am normally like, okay, I'm not even going to force it. If there's a C setup, I don't need it tomorrow, just because these setups earlier in the week were so good. Is that how you approach it towards the end of the week? Are you a little bit more hesitant? I don't know if it's a good or a bad quality I have.
I wouldn't say I'm hesitant. I'm still just probably looking for that high probability trade, and if it does present,
just more
I'll
picky.
take it. But always kind of have that in the back of my mind that a Friday can be quite a choppy day. So
got it.
I would, like today, maybe I would take it as a B setup with downsize.
Got it. That makes sense. So just don't put yourself in a position to give back the profits from earlier in the week.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But it's got to be a high probability trade. I'm not going to go in with a C setup.
Right. Just no reason to. Same reason you wouldn't do it on a Monday. For me, I don't want to carry the energy of the win to start the week or the win to end, or the loss to end the week. I don't want to carry that loss at the start or the end of the week. It doesn't do well for me. That's all. I just hate losing. I think.
I would hate to take a loss on a Friday and carry that over the weekend if it was like a C setup.
Exactly. No, and this is really good information for everybody. So I think we can wrap up today's video here. This is a good trade recap for everybody that wants to connect with Linzi. She's still doing one-on-one calls with everybody. She's been very busy. I'll put the link for that in the description of this video. Linzi, as always, I appreciate you very much. I appreciate you being on the team, and I appreciate you sharing your input with everybody else, because I think I say things fast, and I think a lot of the time it goes in one ear and out the other for people. And when they can hear your perspective, I know they're finding a lot of value. So I really mean it. Thank you.
You're welcome.